Starting a carnivore diet isn't just a diet change. It is a complete transformation that can change your life. You might face drastic shifts in your digestion, your skin. You may also feel like a lone wolf among your friends and family. Many of us who have embraced this lifestyle for months or even years understand just how challenging it can be to stick with it. In today's video, I'll be teaming up with my friend Max German to share insights that we have learned over the past few years of going carnivore. I've personally been carnivore for just about 6 years now, and I hope that you won't have to learn these lessons the hard way like I did. Rule number 1. When going carnivore or meat-based, you're going to have to eat more fat than you're likely used to. To clarify, this does not mean coconut oil or avocado oil, and definitely not vegetable or seed oils. What it does mean is eating fat from the most bioavailable, nutrient-dense source of all, animal fats. My favorite animal fats include butter and beef fat, also known as tallow. They provide a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids and cholesterol, which are crucial for hormone production and brain health. When your body transitions from burning carbs to burning fat for fuel, having enough fat becomes so crucial to keep you surviving and thriving. And this includes both physically and mentally. And that's because without enough fat to satiate, you're likely going to feel tired, irritable, hangry, all things that make it nearly impossible to commit not only to carnivore, but anything that requires consistency. I'm personally seeing a lot of craze and obsession over protein right now on social media, especially with the younger generation. I see in the recommendations page all of these young women obsessively talking about protein. Yes, protein is so important. It is so vital to eat enough grams of protein, especially if you work out and you want to build muscle like me. But you cannot feel your best and you cannot regulate your hormones and be able to have that happy mood, amazing sleep if you are not also focusing on your fat intake. So something that I feel like is neglected a lot on a carnivore diet is emphasizing just how important it is to eat enough fat. A lot of you guys are wondering now, especially if you're new, exactly how do I know how much fat I'm supposed to eat? I think a good rule of thumb to go by that I learned from my friend Dr. Anthony Chafee is to look at your stools. If your stool is perfect, no constipation happening, it's not difficult to pass your stools, then most likely you're eating just the right amount of fat. If you find it difficult to go to the bathroom, you feel blocked up, and when you do try to go, it's not the smoothest, then you could definitely use more fat. Now, let's say your stools are getting very liquidy and loose, and maybe you have diarrhea, then chances are you're eating a bit more fat than your body can handle at that moment. If you're new to carnivore, you're still in the adaptation phase, you should be eating as much fat as you crave. If this means 3 tablespoons of butter with every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you're eating 3 meals a day, don't stop yourself from eating those 3 tablespoons of butter. For my carnivores who cannot stomach eating straight up butter, this bar right here, it's called the Carnivore Bar, is an excellent option for keeping fats up. It's basically a blended fatty steak in bar form. It delivers a crunch. They're high quality and easy to digest. If you guys want to check them out, I'll make sure to link them down below. Another major fat tip that I learned that can really change lives is to avoid hot rendered cooked fats. So anything that is liquid, warmed up, or piping hot, I highly recommend you avoid at all costs, because anything liquid is just going to send you straight to the bathroom with loose stools, especially if you are still adapting to this lifestyle. When I found this out a couple weeks into my carnivore journey and I stopped drinking all of the hot liquid fats and instead just replaced all the fat with a cold stick of butter, it completely stopped my explosive diarrhea. I was eating at least 1 full stick of butter a day. And again, this is not because I was trying to hit macros because somebody was telling me I have to. I was just listening to this, my own body, my own appetite, my own cravings. Some days it would be 1 full stick of butter. Other days it would be up to 2 sticks of butter. I'm definitely going to be on the end of the spectrum of the highest fat possible. And to this day, I still feel like I'm the highest fat carnivore that I know. But that just goes to show just how personal each carnivore journey is going to be, including the amount of fat each carnivore will need.
Another thing that makes the carnivore diet hard for some people is when your energy levels aren't quite as high as you hoped. And assuming you're eating enough fat, there's usually one reason for this. The carnivore diet is a low carbohydrate diet. And when you enter a low carbohydrate state, your body goes through many changes. One of them is that you have a lot less insulin. When you eat carbohydrates, you have a massive blood sugar spike, and another hormone known as insulin also elevates to bring your blood sugar back down. Now, having less insulin is a good thing. However, insulin does actually help the kidneys retain electrolytes. So what ends up happening is a lot of people start carnivore, and because they have less insulin and therefore retain less electrolytes, is that they become deficient in sodium. Now, sodium is actually responsible for the fluid balance in our body. So if you aren't retaining enough, you'll become dehydrated, which can lead to mood issues, brain fog, cramps, and low energy. Now, in order to fix this issue, what you want to do is consume a lot more salt than you typically would. Over time, as your body gets used to this low carbohydrate state, is that you require a lot less sodium and therefore less salt. And because our bodies are so intelligent, they do this naturally. If I had one of those super salty steaks that I had when I first started carnivore right now, it would taste ridiculously salty. I would not be able to eat it. And so over time, as your body gets used to this low carbohydrate state and it gets better at retaining sodium, you'll find you just naturally put a lot less on your meals.
If you're new to carnivore and your low energy is just not going away, leaning on a high quality electrolyte supplement can also really help.
This is the one that I personally recommend, specifically this flavor. It's called raw unflavored. I like this because there's no stevia, there's no flavorings. It's just sodium, potassium, and magnesium measured out in the right quantities for you. Just rip one open, pour in whatever you're drinking, mix it up, drink it down, and you're good to go. You all can get a free sample pack just like this with any purchase when you go to the URL shown on the screen, drinkelementi.com/SBGAL. Also link them down below. If you're looking for faster results, then this second rule will really help. A lot of people say how important it is to be consistent with your diet and healthy habits, and results are not going to be overnight. I do see among the community that consistency is a sore spot, a trouble area for so many new carnivores, but even people who have been on the diet for years have experienced a strong temptation to revert to old eating habits. So the second rule that makes carnivore so much easier is more than just being disciplined. It is having a very strong why and actually writing it down on paper. Writing down goals is so very helpful because it improves your motivation due to the encoding process involved in committing the goals to paper. Encoding is the biological process by which the things we perceive travel to our brain's hippocampus, where they are then analyzed. So writing down for me personally encodes exactly what is important to me, my own priorities. I am a big believer in morning journaling. I go outside in nature. I like to multitask, move my body. I get in fresh air. I get in that natural light into my eyes, and then I sit down and I start journaling. You personally can journal whatever you want to journal, whether it be thoughts, ideas, stress, struggles, dreams, goals, whatever it is that you want to journal. Writing it down on paper is so effective yet therapeutic. I have two excellent tips I have seen work for thousands of new carnivores. The first one is to create an Instagram account. If you don't like Instagram, you can create an X account. Just somewhere where you feel like you can share with the rest of the community, because this is really going to help you stay accountable and feel responsible for carrying through with your goals. This is exactly why I personally love posting on Instagram almost every single day, especially in my Instagram stories. I love to share what I'm eating, what I'm experimenting with. It doesn't cost a single penny to create an account and start posting your progress. And if you do make an account, make sure you tag me in all of your posts at Steak and Butter Gal on all platforms. I would love to support you. If social media gives you anxiety and you just don't like to put yourself out in the world, I highly recommend joining my community, the Steak and Butter Gang. I created it so it is a completely safe place for sharing concerns, questions, updates, and victories without the judgmental vegans and standard American dieters who think we're absolutely crazy. To come join the community, I'll make sure to link them down below in the description box, or you can go to sbgmeetup.com as shown on the screen for more details.
Something else that makes carnivore difficult is when people restrict their portion sizes. Most people have been told their entire lives that in order to get in shape, they need to minimize the amount of food they consume. However, on carnivore, things work differently. The first being that our metabolism upregulates and we burn a lot more energy. The reason being is that when we eat these ultra-processed garbage foods, it destroys every cell in our body, and our cells become a lot less effective at producing energy. This is why the average person sits there all day with just no energy. They can barely get up in the morning. They feel terrible. However, when you switch to the proper human diet and your cells heal, they create a lot more energy. This is why everyone who starts the carnivore diet talks about how much energy they have. Now, not only does this make you more inclined to exercise, more inclined to go for a walk at night instead of watching Netflix, but you also burn a lot more energy just doing your day-to-day things. Nowadays, when I talk, I move my hands a lot more. In fact, every now and then I catch myself just pacing up and down randomly whilst I'm waiting for something. Now, does this make me look slightly strange? Probably. But when you total up the amount of energy this is burning when I'm doing it all day, it makes a significant difference. And remember, fat is stored energy, as well as the fact that our hunger signaling works completely different. Earlier I talked about the carbohydrates, how it spikes your blood sugar. When your blood sugar spikes, it comes crashing back down, but it doesn't stop at its baseline level. It goes below this baseline. And when you're in this state, your body thinks it's run out of fat. You get ridiculously hungry. That's why most people who eat cereal or toast for breakfast, come 10 a.m, they get that hangry sensation where all they can do is think about food, as well as the fact you also become fat adapted. To put this very simply, when you eat carbohydrates, your body runs on carbohydrates. And when you run out of the carbohydrates you've consumed, it's not very effective at tapping into your own body fat, as they have a very different structure. However, when you eat a high-fat diet and your primary fuel source is fat, as soon as you've run the fats you've consumed, your body can easily tap into its own body fat due to the fact that they have very similar structures. And then also, every time your blood sugar spikes and insulin also elevates to bring it back down, insulin actually blocks another hormone called leptin. And leptin is responsible for saying to your brain, hey, we're full, we don't need to eat anymore, we can stop eating. So when you combine these factors and your body is a fat burning machine and you have much less appetite, the fat loss comes effortlessly. Now, what can happen to many people when you first start carnivore, including Bella, as we discussed the other day, is that your appetite can actually upregulate massively. The reason being is that many people are deficient in lots of different nutrients. There are many nutrients that we can only get from meat. Vitamin B12, creatine, carnitine, and even the carbon 20 and 22 fatty acids such as EHA and DHA that make up our brain. These things, they can all only be found in meat. And so you start carnivore and your body's like, whoa, this is amazing, give me more of this stuff. So it can top all of its nutrient levels back up to where it needs to be. However, as soon as you've healed, your nutrient levels are where they need to be, your appetite will down-regulate and the weight loss will happen effortlessly. Don't count your calories, don't restrict. The most important thing you do is let your body heal and the weight loss will take care of itself.
And last but not least, my third rule is not so much an actionable step, but rather a way to understand this lifestyle better. Carnivore diet is not so much a fad diet or some cheat code on how to lose weight overnight or within 7 days. It is truly a lifestyle, a way of life that completely changes you for the better. When you understand that all of the damage that you caused, maybe to your skin, your body, your hormones, did not happen overnight, it will be a lot easier to accept that your healing journey will also not be overnight. If you're more of a perfectionist or you find it difficult to make habits stick, I do want to play this specific clip by my friend Dr. Joan Ifland, who is the go-to expert on breaking food addiction.
We are totally the sum total of our beliefs, and our beliefs come from the people around us. Am I hanging out with people who expect to be vibrant through their end of their lives? Or am I hanging out with people who expect to be in a lot of pain with a lot of medications and hospital visits? Pay attention to the people you're hanging around with. Mirror neurons. We started down this conversation. Mirror neurons will copy. They're just radar. They're automatic radar. What are they doing? Oh, they're sick and going to the hospital. Okay, we'll be sick and go to the hospital too. If you are around people who don't eat this stuff, who get outside a lot, if you're around people who are reading, who are writing, and are happy and are productive, people who are angry and depressed, their cells are not working that well. You want to be around people who are dancing, making music, they're engaged, their frontal lobe is engaged. That is totally the way that you avoid the development of dementia and Alzheimer's.
Wow.
These things are incredibly, totally 100% avoidable.
So like Dr. Ifland said, take advantage of the power of your mirror neurons by surrounding yourself with a community of people who do practice healthy habits and carnivore eating. If you are looking for that community who will welcome you in with open arms, look no further because the Steak and Butter Gang is open 24/7, 365 days a year. I'll make sure to include the clickable links down below in the description box, or you can go to sbgmeetup.com to join us. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you guys have any questions, make sure to comment them down below in the comment section so I can address them in future videos for you. I'll see you in the next video. SVG out.